Okay. Welcome to this edition of Andrew Said. Want to touch on today. I guess I would call it a hot button item. I think it's important to. I was checking out some stuff, and they said there are 5 reasons why people don't listen to you. 1, you ain't being real. 2, relevant. 2, 3, you're not presenting with information, and there were 2 others. But the 3 that struck me, that seemed to be of most significance to any of us who feel like we have a word, is be real, be you. Talk from your journey, because that's the only journey you can talk from with a degree of integrity and or authenticity. So I'm talking in this Andrew Said series, or in these Andrew Said series, from the place of authenticity. I mean, it's from my journey, and I share that with you with tremendous passion. Leaving nuggets, I think, is important. Leaving footprints, I think, is essential. It's critical to have a roadmap from one place to another, and I think that some of the roads that I've been down, some of the features of my journey probably would be helpful. My hope is that they would be helpful. In fact, that's why I'm here doing Andrew Said. So go to the website, andrewholtz.org. You'll see what's been happening in my life. You'll see where I've been, what I've done, and why I want to give back. I appreciate your support and your partnership. And so, of course, continue that. And for those who are hearing it for the first time, go to the Cash App, and that is to $ Ingle Street. And that's how you can support the work of Andrew Said. Today I want to talk about blaming people and taking responsibility. I want to talk about that because I see, and again, much of Andrew Said is Andrew's perspective. That is my perspective. So what I'm saying is of course from, and I want it clear that it's from my perspective. So I want to talk about blaming people and taking responsibility in large measure from my perspective. Here's a hot button topic, and I want to deal with it without feeling the pressure of having to tiptoe around it, but I think it's important to take a look at the pieces. There are always pieces. If you have ever put a puzzle together, a puzzle does not come together. It's not a puzzle if it's not pieces, and it does not come together as a clear, discerning feature in the absence of the pieces in place. Pieces in place. I want to look at. A couple weeks ago, tragically, a young girl got shot by the cop. Okay. Face value, that's really a bad thing. Even in the absence of face value, whatever the converse of that is, it's still true. A human life was lost. I want to talk about that because I'm burdened with the fact that there are too many lives that are lost. I've lived a long time, and I've seen a lot of stuff, and I'm still here, grateful to God that He kept me through some circumstances. But here, I remember, that's maybe 10, 15 years ago now, maybe even 20, but maybe 15, more like 15, at least I'd like for it to be 15. I went to a meeting, and one of my friends who is a minister was leading the session, and he said this. I said, wow. He said when his son turned of driving age, he taught him a couple things, 2 things. I think he said 2 things, but hear this. When his son became of driving age, he taught him two things. One, how to drive. That's obvious, trust. Number two, it was the number two that really rocked me in my seat. He said how to take a ticket. How to take a ticket. I said, what? You know, it sounds crazy, but as he presented, I began to look more into the reality of the driving circumstance as it relates to certain circumstances. How that come out. From my experience, you have to know what to do when you are in a position where you are in juxtaposition up against, I don't want to say ultimate authority, but ultra authority. I was in a situation once where I was, engaged in driving above the speed limit, and a cop stopped me, and I said, hey, you had to be speeding too to catch me. That was frivolous. It was dangerous. It was reckless. And I didn't know at the time I was crazy for doing it and saying it. I could have gotten killed. The young girl tragically got killed. She, when the officer showed up, had if I understand the narrative from following the characterization carefully enough to give it some integrity in my presentation, had a knife raised as if to either defend herself from assault from another, and in that protective, defensive posture, when the officer arrived, reacted to what the officer saw. I remember back in school, they taught us about the Joe Harry window, the eye of the beholder, looking at a thing from another person's perspective. So if you go there with me for a second, freeze frame it on what the officer saw or thought he or she saw. Flip it to then what did the person who had the knife raised, what was it that person was doing? Well, I raised that carefully for you to take a look at what I want to convey here today. Blaming people and taking responsibility. I only lay that out there for you to look at it, not to argue about it, not to deal with the rightness or wrongness of it, but to address the features which, in my view, Andrew said, need to be addressed to establish where you are with it with regards to your life. You heard my testimony. You heard my characterization of the event which occurred. That's a hot button item. And now let's look at it from what would you do? First of all, what do you see in that is you? And what would you need to look at it to do you, be you, and to keep you alive to do and be some other things that could be even greater? I want to leave that with you. That's an important, Andrew said. One of the worst things to do is die before your time and to drive recklessly and kill yourself. And so whether the cop is right and the young lady is wrong or vice versa, whichever is true, there's a truth in it. And that is that each of us, we need to take personal responsibility for our well-being, our safety, our longevity, and not bring into our space opportunity that if we would consider some other ways, that door, let me call it a door of inopportunity, would not avail itself to us. I think it's tragic to allow any situation to cause one's pursuit of excellence in life to have a short term to it. So if that makes sense, that's Andrew said with regard to blaming people and taking responsibility. Look, again, Thanks for the time you're spending with us in the series. You can find these. We're archiving them. You can go to the website, and I invite you to go to the website, andrewholtz.org, and once you get in, you'll see the network of available material that's there. Even my book, and you go there, you'll see it too. And thank you for your support. Keep it coming. It's needed. We're on to something that we feel is essential in our relationship with self and others. So, of course, I invite your support. Go to Cash App, $Ingle Street, and together we all benefit from the support of each other to, again, Andrew said,